Hi, Alan from Ardent. Here's my lovely boat fare exchange, and I'm going to talk to you a bit about the jobs required to winterize at the end of the season. I've been coming to this boat yard for about 20 odd years, and it's a consideration that if you buy yourself a boat, you do need to think about which boat yard you're going to pull out in. The boat yards are busy, there may be a waiting list, so don't just assume that the boat can be pulled out. And this is actually true of your moorings or your marina berth. Don't just assume by buying a boat you've got a place for it. You might need to book yourself up. Anyway, I've been coming to this boat yard for 20 years. This is my cradle, this is my boat, and there's a few jobs now to get done to put it to bed for the winter. Okay, one of the very first jobs we do is to get the sails down. That's not just really to put them away for the winter. It's often a requirement at the boat yards because of windage, especially the sail at the front here, the jib. If we get some strong winds, which we often do over the winter time, then this amount of windage puts a lot of strain on the boat in the cradle. So it's pretty important as soon as the boat's out of the water that we get this sail down as soon as we can. Just be very wary, of course, with weather, and when I say weather I mean wind. Ideally we do this on a kind of calm day, because you are going to have to pull the whole sail out. It's going to be flapping around, ropes everywhere. So if it is very windy, it might be something you want to put off. But luckily for us today is perfect, very light breezes, so we should have no problems. Preparation is important. We need to make sure nothing's going to get jammed up when the sail comes down. So I'm just getting the halyard here. This is the halyard for the headsail. I'm going to put it onto the winch in readiness for lowering it, and I can take the jammer off now, so that's ready to run. And then the end of the rope here, I'm just going to coil it down neatly onto the deck, just to make sure it's not going to get tangled up or caught up with anything. That's all ready to go. So now my handy helper Sue is going to pull out the headsail, furl it out, and then once the sail is fully out, then I can release the halyard and pull the sail down. Okay. And these ropes get taken back and we wash them and clean them and put them away. Right, I'm just now going to take the sail off the furling gear here with the pliers. I always mouse my shackles to stop them coming undone accidentally with cable ties. Now just be a bit careful, don't chuck these over the side. They are bits of plastic, so put them in your pocket and dispose them correctly. And then we can take the shackle off. I like to leave the shackle actually in the fitting. If you do leave it in the sail itself, if you send your sails away to be washed professionally, they don't really want a metal bit going around in their washing machine. So I will put the shackle back ready for when the sail goes back up in the spring. And there's another one at the bottom. Again, the shackles come out and back on. And that's the sail free. We're very lucky, we're in a boat yard with a nice concrete floor, so to fold the sail away neatly, we're going to take it onto the ground and fold it away, ready for stowage. So we've got the headsail down here, perfect to fold it away. Just while you've got the time, a quick visual check to look for any damage on the sail, any chafe patches. We're very lucky, we have an industrial sewing machine at home, so Sue actually does the work and does repairs on the sail. Okay, it's actually looking pretty good, so we'll fold it away. So it's now time for the mainsail to come off. Step one will be to get the sail cover off, so we'll do that first straight away. So a couple of jobs we need to do before it can come off. We need to take the battens out and we need to pull the reefing lines through. Top tip, do put a stopper knot in the end of the rope once you've pulled it through the sail, just so it doesn't go back through the back of the boom. Okay, that's the reefing lines off. And now, Sue, do you want to come around the other side and we'll take the battens out? Most sails have 4 battens. There we go, just one. They tend to be different lengths, so it's sometimes useful to mark the position of them. Makes it easy to put them back in again. So that's the battens out. Now we can actually pull the sail off the boom. I've just undone the gate on the side of the mast. That means I can actually now take the sliders out. Great, that's all done. So again, we'll stick it down into the car park and we'll fold it up. Okay, so here's the main quick visual check around. You can see this is a very special boat and a very special sail. Notice my sail number, 007, James Bond. So that's the sails done. Some people like to have their sails washed and checked professionally every year, so you'll then take them to your sail maker and they will clean them professionally. They'll do any repairs and usually store them for you for the winter, ready for the spring. I like to keep my sails on the boat. We put them away in dry conditions. We run a dehumidifier so that the sails will remain dry. I've made a note of any small repairs we need to make. And that's it, the sails are all ready to go. So we'll put them down below and move on to the next job. So next job is really to deal with the anchor. The anchor's been living up the front of the boat for the whole season, and the anchor chain, more importantly, has been in a locker, dark, damp, wet locker. And we need to get the anchor chain out, get some fresh air on it, get some rain to clean it, and it gives the ability to actually clean out the anchor locker as well. Okay, so I'm going to lower the anchor down. We've got a wooden pallet we've got here. I'm going to lower the anchor down to Sue, so if you can get ready to receive it. Just making sure we don't damage anything on the way. You can see how we're flaking the chain backwards and forwards, sitting on the wooden pallet to allow the air to get through it. And when the rain comes, the rain will clean it, and being in fresh air stops it going rusty. The last mark, the last few meters. That's it. Perfect. Right, that's where that's going to live for the winter. Okay, let's have a look at the windlass. We've got the anchor chain down. Probably the most important thing with windlass actually over the season, put a cover over it, because this lives at the front of the boat in all conditions, salt water everywhere, so keep it covered. Come the winter time, a couple of things, check the oil. There's a little window at the front here, which is pretty good. I've never had to change that. But you will need to grease a few of the parts of it, especially this is called a gypsy. This is what spins when the anchor's lowered. We need to grease that, keep it clean. And also, we've got a couple of bolts here. This is an aluminium body. These are stainless steel bolts, and if you leave them year after year, they will freeze up and you won't get them out. So just by actually releasing them, give them a couple of turns, pull them back up again, means that if you have to get stuff off, they will come undone again. So another job is our running rigging. These are quite expensive to buy. Why leave them up the entire winter? They're going to get messy and dirty. And they do suffer from UV damage. So I always take all my ropes down. So all the ones I can get to on deck, Sue's pulling one through here. And we also pull them through the mast using long bits of thin rope called mice. So we get all these ropes down, we wash them, we dry them, and then we put them somewhere warm and dry for the winter, ready for the next season. Okay, put my mouse on. I've tied that onto a loop. loop that's on the end of the halyard. This is the main halyard. Do tie the end of the mouse onto something, otherwise you're going to end up the whole thing going through the mast, and then you're going to be a very unhappy person. That's tied off now. I'm now pulling the halyard through. Takes the mouse with it. Here she comes. Excellent. It's a bit short here. And then we tie the two ends off, and then we can take the halyard away for cleaning. Okay, I'm going to take the line out of the furling drum. There we go. That's good. Now we can coil this one away and get this one washed. Okay, so I'm just going to do the reefing lines now. Again, I've got my mouse attached. It's easy for the mouse to jump off these little wheels, so just do guide them through a bit carefully, otherwise it will jam up. Right, that's through. And so I'm now going to untie it at the end. And that's the reefing line off for cleaning. And I'll just tie this end off here for the winter. Washing your ropes, back in the old days I used to actually put them in my dinghy, filled it with water, put some detergent in there. I now have the luxury of having an old second washing machine, and you put the ropes in your washing machine, they come up really nice and clean. Obviously they're encrusted in salt water and grime, so a bit of detergent, non-biological is best of all. Now just a couple of things, do make sure if they're going to a washing machine, make sure they're tied up quite neatly, otherwise they're going to come apart like this. And just be wary, obviously the halyards have sometimes got shackles in the end of them, which are going to rattle about and bang on the drum. But if you put a sock over the end of the metal bit with a cable tie around it, then it stops it banging about. And I guarantee your ropes will come out beautifully clean and white, just like when you bought them brand new. Okay, safety equipment, let's look at this. Life raft, don't leave it exposed out all winter. I like to just take it off and put it down below. It has got an expiry date. These are serviced every 3 years, so if it is coming up for service, take it to a certified life raft maintainer. There, that's the word. Most life rafts will come with a hydrostatic release, so this releases automatically should the boat sink. Again, this has a 2-year lifespan, so check the date on that and replace it if necessary. Life jackets, again, these have got canisters in them, automatic or manual, but do check the date on them to make sure that they are in date. And EPIRB, this is my EPIRB 5-year battery life on this one. Again, this lives down below anyway, but do check the date, and if required, send this off to have a new battery put into it. If you've got a handheld VHF radio, that's fine. I would take the battery out over the winter time, otherwise it will corrode up. And this is my latest gadget. This is electronic flare. Again, it looks after itself, but it has got an expiry date printed on it, so I do need to check that to make sure it's in date. Okay, we're down below now. Another job that you really should be thinking about. Your boat sitting over the winter is going to get damp, it's going to get moisture coming into it, so it's good to look after your cushions. If you've the luxury of a spare room at home, then do take your cushions back with you to keep them dry. If not, we always run a dehumidifier aboard the boat, and actually it works really well. So we take all the cushions off, just stand them up on the ends to get lots of surface area. And then finally, when I leave the boat, I put a dehumidifier on, and that keeps everything nice and warm and dry. Hard to believe we were coming down the river yesterday, last trip of this year, and now she's been put to bed. So let me just show you how she looks. pretty much how she's going to stay for the winter. Of course, there are winter jobs to be done, but this is her laid up, nice and cosy. All I have to do is put on the dehumidifier and I can leave the boat. Okay, Charlie, when the house bears about 270 degrees.
To work out our distance from the lighthouse and use that.
We might be perfectly on track, but if we're not on time...
Have a look, I've got my phone here at the effect it has on our steering compass. Our echo sound is working, we can find a contour and follow it nicely into port.
Our left hand is pointing towards the centre of the low.